Okay. Okay. Hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello, hello. Look, we're trying to figure out where the camera is. Look at
Hello,
hello,
hello.
hello. Shoot, hold on.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
We're trying to
Whoops.
figure out where's me too.
We just like to hear ourselves.
Okay, if ain't nobody else on the live, we gonna be on the live talking to ourselves. Okay, look at my
Hey, DJ.
Boy, I'm telling you, boy, they be liking that camera. Boy, Lord have mercy, they want to be on the camera more than me.
I know.
Oh Lord, I gotta switch computers. I don't like looking out crazy.
I switched computers today. Hopefully there's no lag.
Is that the new one?
No.
Oh, okay. So, do your thing.
It's the gifted one.
Oh, okay.
Hey, hey, LJ.
Hello.
They couldn't wait to get back over here.
Hello.
Hello.
How you do?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, let me
All right. So we have a viewer's pick today.
Woo! Woo! Our first viewer pick. No, this is not our first viewer pick. This is, official viewers pick. No, DJ, the one that is in the bathroom, sir.
So we're gonna come up with a schedule and let you guys know like what to expect. But viewers pick is one of our ideas that has been pretty popular. So we had a viewer pick, and it was Kenneth, who's also in the chat, decided to talk about encephalitis. So today, as it says up on the screen, viewer's pick is a health topic, which, health is number one.
That's right. You know I'm about that. Health is wealth. Yes.
And learning.
And the application thereof. Yes.
Yeah. So I put it in my description. If you guys want to talk about a certain topic and we definitely can accommodate, we will. So make sure when the live is over, you leave us a comment on either one of our channels. It doesn't matter. Even if it was a past live and you thought it was a great topic and you wanted to expound upon it or whatever. We have lots of ideas. So coming into the new year, 2023, can you imagine?
No, right.
We have more. We have just so much more to share with you guys. And, if you're new and you haven't seen or heard any of these Converse with the Mamas, they're awesome. Go listen to them. Check out the playlist. It's such a variety. You never know what you're going to get. Like,
that's right.
That's why we just keep doing it, because you keep you on your toes. Boom, boom, boom.
Keep on the toes, honey.
So, and especially when we talk about anything, whether it be trending topics, whether we talk about medical stuff or life stuff in general, we like to come with actual facts. So I show, and Frugal Mama shows like where we get our information, so it's not just pulled randomly out of a bag. Because we want to educate people, educate ourselves too. Sometimes we think we know stuff and we don't. So education is super important. Knowledge is power, as they say. So we got to circle ourselves with all this power that we have. And Google can be your friend. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. Google can be your friend. Just be mindful of where your sources are from. Shout out to pulling randomly out of the bag. Me and bags, right? I must love some, like, I got a bag of kids, a bag of this, a bag of that. Shout out to the members in the chat. Appreciate you guys keeping this channel alive. It's been over a year. I think we have some channel members that have been here since, well, we do have some channel members that have been here successfully for, I don't know what it is, 18 months. So I appreciate you guys entirely. So if you're just coming in, look at that, 17 months. There you go. Boom. Hashtag exclusive. If you're just coming in, be sure to smash that like button, not just in my live, in Frugal Mama's live, but when you go show love to other people, just make sure you know, it's just a formality. Just like when you walk in somebody's house, you say hi. That's the way of saying hi. If you want to chat in the chat, we love that too. Hey, James, thanks for coming in. And I think that's my ramble so far. Hashtag exclusive. Yes, let's get it. Let me see. So today's Wednesday, the midweek mashup, the last one of 2022. Like I'm just, where are the fireworks? And it's awesome. The midweek mashup is something that I really do look forward to because it's something that's not your norm, and we catch you in the middle of the week with all this great conversation and whatnot. Shout out to Blue. Look at, I mean, I have a purple shirt on, but Blue is just rocking today. If you guys want to share your weather, where you're at in the chat, just type in weather and then space and then the city name, because I know it's fluctuating. You were talking about that this morning. It was like 40 last night, and now it's 70.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, this weather is just all over the place, but hey.
And I'm just staying with a hoodie all day, every day.
Okay. Layer up.
Summer, winter, spring, and fall. Oh, speaking of Four Seasons, last week on Frugal Mama's channel, we did the Four Seasons collab with Unique Speaks and Always Tam Tam. And that was so fun. We did eyeshadow looks for the seasons. So that was really, really awesome. Look at that. Chicago, 44. That's probably really hot for you guys. Maryland is 46. Look at that. Oof. Ah, yeah. It's crazy over here.
Let me see what's the official weather.
So let me put in mine here, and then I'm going to open up, share my screen. It's been a while since it functioned.
Oh, let me show you. I was gonna share this on a video, and I probably still will. I shopping once again. Check it out. Oh, I thought this was a massager. It was advertised as a massager. This mud is like one of those one of them things that kick out them electrical shocks.
Oh, the stems.
Yeah, what them that mud. Man, I put this thing on my neck. I feel like I'm being executed. I said, "Oh Lord, someone please call 911." Okay,
Oh,
like, what in the world? Boy, this thing, oh Lord. But if you have like those type of issues that you need that, this is probably great. But I got this on Tumu. And yeah, that sucker, baby. When I tell you it worked, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I put that sucker on. I was like, but it got the little up and down. I said, I don't care what I put it on. I can't do it, boy. I'm gonna be sitting up here we done had a seizure trying to sit up here and get a massage in my neck. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Be careful with what you order. Read the description. I need to read more reviews.
Oh Jesus! Look at me.
But I'm gonna be doing more reviews on my channel in 2023. So
yes,
yeah,
love the reviews and the food reviews too.
Okay.
LJ said that. It's not really spicy.
Okay.
I'm like, see, I bet it ain't.
Exactly. And DJ talk about, oh, let me get my water. He's so dramatic. He just an actor, man. I'm like, we both up here talking about, oh no, it ain't that spicy. She just be
He
acting.
has different taste buds. That's all.
Oh, you justify it acting.
Ah. Hey,
Okay, go ahead.
Warriors. Oh, also, I was live with Warriors Monday. You guys probably missed it. I know it's been crazy. I was on his channel. We were playing Fall Guys, so go check that out. It's on.
You were playing on screen?
I wasn't on screen, but you can hear me.
Okay.
Which, woo!
Entertainment. Okay.
Yes, pure entertainment. That was a lot of fun. So let me share my screen here. I'll send you guys. Oh, yeah. I kind of like the chillier weather in Florida because it's pretend winter, but it's nice to have a break. Because, woo, Lord Jesus, it was like 100 a few weeks ago. Okay, so this is what we're talking about today. Encephalitis. It's a long word. I know. I can't wait for the clips, Warriors. I just can't wait. Okay, so encephalitis. Let me get serious here. This was a viewer's pick by Kenneth. So shout out to Kenneth, who shared that he was diagnosed with encephalitis as a child. So hopefully you guys can see this pretty well. Again, be careful when you Google stuff, when you think you have things. I just want to let you know that this is a disclaimer. This is just for educational purposes. There's no copyright in here. I'm sharing a wealth of knowledge and some reputable places here. So right here is nhs.uk, and the Mayo Clinic is very reputable. John Hopkins medical clinics are very reputable sources. Be careful with Wikipedia and what is the medical one that even I sometimes get caught up in? Oh gosh, I can't think of it right now. But but Cedar Sinai is great. Cleveland Clinic is great. You just want to avoid Wikipedia sometimes. They are just not. So anyway, they're just not. You can't use it in
WebMD. What you thinking about WebMD?
Yes.
Thanks, Jay.
There you go. I'm not looking at the chat, so I apologize. I also want to let you know that anytime you're feeling a few symptoms, headache, pain in a specific place, flu-like symptoms, weakness, they're very vague symptoms. So if you are having issues medically, try not to use those. Should be like the last things that you mention to a nurse or a doctor, because really every symptom of every disorder starts with a headache. Like, I mean, it's the ones that are not common that you need to report. So like if you're having blurry vision out of nowhere, seeing spots, a headache that really just won't go away if you took Tylenol, vomiting that doesn't stop, that, if it's not related to food poisoning or alcohol overdose, those are like severe symptoms. So I do like to educate. Hey, Micro Farmer, House of X, Stock Explorer. I do like to educate people because the overuse of the medical system has just gone out of control. And things like this, encephalitis, or a heart attack, or a stroke, or a fever gone rogue on a baby, can be overshadowed by somebody coming in with vague symptoms like a headache. Hey, 1SP, thanks for coming in. So I do like to share my nursing knowledge, but I am not a doctor. So don't take everything I say for word. Please talk to your doctor. Your real doctor.
Your actual doctor. Okay.
Not the one I play on TV.
My doctor be talking about, okay, don't be in here, don't go home Googling stuff now. Don't do it. You go home because you know I will come in. I'll be emailing, calling. I'll be on the phone on the mic, baby.
Now, if you do need like advice or something, just know that I cannot be held liable for anything. So if you do want to reach out and you do have a question that I can simply answer instead of you wasting $40 at the urgent care, I can triage that and tell you what you possibly could do, but I can't be held liable for any mistakes that you make. Now, if you see me
in the morning on the morning live, you are held accountable and responsible for your thoughts, your action, and the repercussion thereof. So make good choices. Okay, that's on you. Period.
Right. Period. Disclaimer over. Now, if I do see you at the local hospital, then I'm your nurse that day. Lucky you.
And look, and then the hospital responsible. Look, don't call me. I call you. Okay.
I am licensed under them. No. Anyway, okay, so encephalitis, basically anytime you see itis, and I'm teaching you this, so you get 1 college credit. The itis, if it ends in itis, it's an inflammation of. So we learn word terminology in medicine all the time, but root words, right, in English. So if it ends in itis, it's inflammation. And the encephala or encephal is the brain. So inflammation of the brain is the topic. So usually it's caused by bacteria or viruses, which what isn't? But this is a severe condition and it's very rare. I mean, you don't really hear about this unless it's in conjunction with another disorder, but it's very serious. So in a nutshell, it causes confusion, and I'm talking about random confusion, not related to anything else. No Mary J, no alcohol, no illegal drugs. They're like random confusion, hallucination, seizures, tingling sensations throughout the body, because your brain is responsible for nerve conduction. So there's a lot of that happens. But something that is not of the normal. So if you wake up the next day and you're having some of these symptoms, I would immediately call your doctor or go to the ER. So I'm going to go with Johns Hopkins because they're very popular and reliable. So seizures, unless witnessed, you can't really use seizures. It's very hard to define, uncontrollable movements as seizures. But if somebody did witness you having a seizure, it's nice to bring them along so they can talk to the medical staff as well, so they can describe what they saw. Now, encephalitis, meningitis, which you guys have heard a lot, right? We hear that with high schoolers into college kids, but it can happen to anybody, is another itis. So it's another inflammation. And these are connective tissues or tissues that connect to the brain. So you had mentioned a little massager for the neck. So the neck is typically the point of contact or reference when something happens to the brain. There's like a signal disturbance, I'll say. So you'll end up with a stiff neck, or your headache would be more towards the back of your head. And it would be a noticeable thing. Like you would definitely be like, oh shoot, something is happening in the back of my neck right here. And that brings people in. I wouldn't say seizures first, but it would be the stiffness of the neck, the headache. Sensitivity to light happens a lot. So an overall virus thing, any virus can pretty much get caught up in your nervous system and head straight to the brain, because the brain has lots of things happening, just like in the rest of the body. The brain, the heart, the major organs are the ones that get affected first. So encephalitis can happen with viruses that are carried by what we call vectors, which are mosquitoes, ticks, rats are vectors. So West Nile is one. We heard of Zika in the past. But there's others. There's lots of viruses that can end up affecting the brain. Does anybody have any questions so far? I'm just rambling.
No, but it's amazing how many carriers of things, that can really affect us so fiercely. I knew somebody who had meningitis. They went to the doctor about 5 times, and then they finally got a diagnosis as with meningitis. And I was like, oh my goodness, they could been done did whatever test they needed to do for this, whatever. But it was a mess.
Well, with meningitis, you also get stiff neck. That is like the number one reported symptom. Official. The lesion I have on my spinal cord in my neck can mimic, a lot of those symptoms too, because it attacks the nerves. So anything, so herpes is up there because that's a virus. Let me just scroll back. I like to talk about chicken pox and herpes. They are the same. I know a lot of people think that they are different. They react differently, but they are essentially of the same family. So chicken pox, shingles, one is when you're a little kid, shingles is when you're older, but they are the same virus essentially. And then herpes simplex, 1 or 2. 1 is anywhere on the body, and 2 is usually to the genital areas. Those are just, they break it down like that. But they're viruses nonetheless, which we are all familiar with chickenpox. They look the same. It's a rash, it's red, it has pustules, little pimples basically that erupt or explode. The reason why this becomes dangerous is because when they attach themselves to nerves or nerve endings, again, the brain is involved in nerve conduction. So if it attaches itself to a nerve that's near your spinal cord or your brain nerve endings, that would obviously cause a lot of issues. So you might, if it attaches itself, let's say, to like an optic nerve or the eye nerve, you'll get a lot of eye twitching. You'll get maybe vision changes, blindness.
Dang.
It just depends on. It just depends on where the nerve is struck. I actually got chickenpox twice as a child. I got it from my cousin, and then we just bounced it back to each other, celestial. I went to beauty school for 6 months while I was in high school, and they talked about viruses. Right, because viruses can be in cosmetics. That's why it's very dangerous to share makeup. I mean, that's one of the things I have talked to my daughter about is, like, if you have mascara, you shouldn't share it because, again, it's next to your eye, or eyeliner or lipstick. These are openings to the body. There's nerves that run all along your mouth, all along your eyes. So if you share things with other people, straws, food, things like that, you're liable to share some sort of virus. It may not affect you right away, but really that's an entryway to the body. Just it seems simple, but high schoolers and college kids, they definitely share a lot of stuff that they shouldn't. Drinks and stuff, I'm saying. So never leave your drink, people. Okay, don't be sharing drinks with your friends because you don't know where their mouth has been. Okay, so vectors, mosquitoes, ticks. we know mosquitoes are harborers of a lot of viruses. Zika was a huge one. West Nile was another huge one that went floating around. So, be careful with still water. Don't leave water outside for too long in the hot season. But there's also autoimmune. Autoimmune is where your body basically attacks itself in a nutshell. So your own immune system will attack itself because it's not sure what this virus or bacteria is doing here. So it'll just start eating its own antibodies or the antibodies that react to infections. So it kind of like creates a hyper explosion of a virus, which there are quite a bit of autoimmune diseases. So it's not surprising that they would have found one for encephalitis. We talked about symptoms. Again, try not to go with the flu-like, I've been tired, I have a headache, I had a low-grade fever, I can't really drink. Even though they are the symptoms, typically headache is going to be for everything. So something, again, that I would mention to a doctor or a nurse would be a fever that doesn't go away. So anything over 102, you really start to worry. 101 that doesn't go down is a problem. So 102, 103, you're kind of in a zone where you don't need to be. If it's a child, 100.5 is reportable. So neck stiffness. Oh my God, if somebody loses consciousness, that is an emergency. Okay. Conjunctivitis, you mentioned, Celestial, is very, very catchy. That can be caught by anybody. That is one of those things that can be treated over the phone. You report those symptoms. I got a red eye, it's itchy, it burns. You don't need to go to the doctor for that. You can call them and report their symptoms unless they want to look at your eye, Severe cases of encephalitis would be paralysis or, the weakening of arms and legs. Can't move those extremities, arms and legs. Double vision, like I was saying, if you have any sort of change in your vision, blurry, seeing spots, that's an emergency. Doesn't matter how you think it happened, that's an emergency. Impairment of speech or hearing. We tend to think anything that happens with the brain.
I mean, you said blurred vision is an emergency?
Yeah, if you've never had blurry vision and then all of a sudden your vision is just gone, or it's hazing out. And I said, not related to drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Hey, the gambler. Thanks for coming in. So really, if you've been drinking, please report that first. I had a binge last night or whatever, because it's important for us to know as healthcare workers that you are under some impairment, because we can't give you certain medications, or we'd like to clear you out first, which is why we always set you up with a nice IV.
Man, that IV be feeling good though. I mean, you feel hydrated, boy. You be like,
Yes.
Girl, I need to do. Everybody need one IV at least once a week or so. Just to,
I love a good bag of IV.
Another bag. Okay.
Yes, you be feeling like, dang, I definitely don't drink enough. Oh my God.
But you know what though? You may be able to talk about that a little bit after you finish this part. Is there are people who can drink of water or whatever, but they still never get hydrated because their body isn't processing or doing what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Properly.
Right. Especially if you have kidney disorders or if you are taking certain medications.
I just stay on track because I will get sidetracked like a mud. Just put a pin in that one just in case we got some more time to discuss this.
I go on a rant myself. So,
but like if you're getting dry mouth and stuff like that, but you steady drinking water, that may be an indication that you have kidney, I don't know about liver problem. I'm just gonna say some kind of organ problem. I'm telling you, tell them do your MRI, CAT scan, PET scan, scan up, doggone it.
you all the scans.
Give me every scan and test that you can possibly get, because that ain't right. You have some dry mouth symptoms. Thank you for the full support, Andre.
Yes, please. Oh, hi, Andre. If you have dry mouth after drinking like a gallon of water, it's probably related to a medication you're taking first, because there's a lot of blood pressure medications that cause like dry mouth, or psych meds that cause dry mouth. And if it's out of the ordinary, then of course you report that. So anyway.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Cut. I missed this part. But did you already say how it is contracted like another virus? Some, it's like airbound, where you can touch everything, huh?
So I did go over it. I'll scroll back. So they're usually vectors.
Eyes, mouth.
Usually. I said openings to the body, so eyes, mouth, ears, nose. If there's an opening and a virus can get in there, that's usually how it goes.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of nasty people. You see people live like that, and then we still, oh, Lord, I'm telling you, it'll make you want to just not go nowhere. I'm telling you.
I was laughing the other day because I was texting someone, and she told me, she had diarrhea, blah, blah, blah. If she's watching, But anyway, she reached out to me and told me, that she was on antibiotics for strep throat. And I was like, don't stop taking your antibiotics. Like, yeah, but I was vomiting, so I had to stop. And I was like, but this is how viruses and bacteria build up in the body if you stop taking your antibiotics. And she's like, oh, I know, but what's the point? And I was like, the point is you take antibiotics with probiotics. If you don't know what a probiotic is, go check it out. Capsule is the best way to take it. Yogurt is okay, but it doesn't have enough. So I was explaining to her, it's like, so you're just letting bacteria grow more where you were treating it. So that antibiotic that you're about to start taking again is not going to be effective. I run out of breath sometimes when I talk to people, but I have my usual brain MRI next week. Awesome. Celestial. That's why I don't go anywhere. So what I said to her was, after that, I was like, or wherever you ate, they didn't wash their hands. So you could be blaming it on strep throat. I'm blaming it on wherever you went to eat.
Okay. But staph infections are passed like that too, because people don't wash their hands properly. Yeah.
And it's a silly little thing that we have to keep reiterating. I mean, Elmo talks about it. Bluey talks about it. I know you don't like cartoons. I love cartoons. They all talk about it. All the little cartoons. They tell little kids, wash your hands, do. Wash your hands, do. Okay? Just wash your hands.
You got to remind them, did you wash them with soap? Because, every time they washing their hands with cold water. Cold water ain't good. I mean, my hand be almost scalding. I'm getting, what they call it?
3rd-degree burns.
Scabs and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Me too.
Yeah.
I try to drill it in like hot water kills germs. Hot water kills germs. You don't use hot water, you're not killing the germs. Okay. It's my own song. I can't copyright my own song.
Okay. You gotta get it.
Okay, so we talked about what to report. Seriously, and I keep saying it, please don't say headache. If you got a headache, that's the last thing. I'm talking about serious brain issues. Like, you cannot wake up. You are totally confused. You don't know where you are. You don't know these people's names. You're extremely irritable because it's like something is scratching the brain. Just think about sandpapering your brain. Okay. The nerves are just irritated. Everything is just messed the hell up there. So you're not going to be thinking right. You're going to be seeing stuff. You're going to be talking about nonsense. You're not going to know where you are. Your neck is going to be hurting like a mother. Like, it's not going to be cute. Okay. Especially when this is involving children. You as a parent or a caregiver should be monitoring any little change. We all know our kids pretty well. So, or we should be noticing, if not just the fever, we should be noticing if something is off. Okay. So they're going to do scans. The biggest way to find out if there's any sort of infection in the, I'm trying to use simple words, spinal cord or brainstem is a lumbar puncture, which is a spinal tap. Pretty sure everybody knows that word. Put a big needle in your spine, pull out some fluid, they test it. So they're looking for proteins. They're looking for the consistency of the spinal fluid. They're looking for any bacteria or viruses that shouldn't be there. An EEG, which is this nice word here, which is a brain scan. They're going to be looking for different wave patterns of the brain, any changes, any recent changes to the brain activity. Blood tests and urine tests are often done every time you go. So, I mean, they're just ruling things out at that point. Treatment is treating the cause. So if it was a virus, antivirus medication. Antibiotics are for bacteria. A lot of people just like to ask for antibiotics just because it makes them feel better, but really you're just killing all the good stuff in your body. And so if you don't replace it with probiotics, then you're just killing every good thing that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, my doctor said I need to take probiotics because I drink so much water. So I'm like, man, you killing off all you can kill off everything. You know what I mean? Like you can just wash out everything.
Probiotics are good for the stomach.
Now, did I say probiotics or prebiotics? I take both of them, so it don't really matter. I got them on the front end, back end, pro, pre, all of it.
All, before, after, it's all good. And it's a good and healthy thing to get used to doing, for sure.
It must be something that if you take in like an over, it'll just flush out.
Okay, so my analogy that I always tell patients is, where's my little candle here? So here's my candle. This is full of water, let's pretend, right? So if I start filling this thing up with salt and I have more salt in the water than I actually do water, then that's going to retain fluid. Does that make sense? We always say that water follows salt in medical stuff. So the reason why we give you IV fluids is to balance out any imbalances in the body. So we want to lower the amount of salt in the body because that holds on to a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if you have other electrolyte imbalances like potassium, magnesium, then they'll change it up. But the general consensus is that you can overwater yourself, especially if the water is not good. Okay. So you want to stay hydrated, but you want to hydrate yourself in a good way. Okay. If you do have kidney disorders, you need to talk to your doctor because you can definitely mess yourself up if you're not supposed to be drinking water like that. Are there any questions in the chat?
If they don't have no question, I got another question. So what are the long term? I want to know what are like the long term effect. So if they catch the virus and they able to treat it, do you go back to normal? Like you saying, you equating it with herpes and chickenpox. Well, chickenpox is a herpes virus, but so that stays in your system forever. Does that stay in your system forever, or only if you don't get treated fast enough?
So I was gonna go into.
Oh, okay. Now got it.
Let's go. So any sort of virus that can go wrong any virus that can go wrong. You always want to treat it first in the early stages. Come here, sir. Come here. Because if you don't, we're talking about the brain that does everything for the body, whether it's telling the body to breathe, that's something that the brain does by itself. So it can go horribly wrong if you delay treatment or you're not noticing treatment. So the first thing that I think about with anything that happens with the brain is when the brain shuts down, everything else shuts down. It no longer tells your lungs to breathe. So then you have respiratory failure, which explains itself, right? Respiratory failure is difficult to come back from, depending on how long you've been down, so to speak, or without breathing, because the buildup of carbon monoxide in the body obviously is damaging. Too much CO2 causes carbon monoxide. Anyway, so brain swelling can be treated depending on how severe it is. There's a cushion or a layer around the brain that's protective, right? So we always talk about when we have babies, like, oh, don't touch their head because, there's a soft spot and blah, blah, blah. Well, it still exists to a degree. But if the brain swells too much, obviously it can start to die, if it's swollen outside of its capacity. Seizures that are uncontrolled can be very dangerous. And sometimes you can't come back from certain seizures. And let's see, the heart is also the other organ that can be destroyed. So if you stop breathing, your heart is obviously not getting oxygen. So it's a direct correlation. When one thing stops, the others are going to stop. So if the heart is not getting oxygen, it starts dying immediately. So some of those things can be treated early and resolved. Boom! We got a thank you. Wait. Where's my money?
You done came back.
Thank you, Savage. You get one of these.
Hey.
Get it. Yes, thank you.
I like how they be all slow. Hey.
I gotta come up with another one. Yes, appreciate that. Let's see if I missed anybody else coming in. Believe me, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to push out a whole lot of information. Okay, so treatment, treat it early. It's the best thing to do. It says here that mild cases are usually short, result in full recovery. Obviously, if you leave it too long, it can lead to death. They're saying about 10% of patients. Survivors of severe cases can be left with permanent problems, fatigue, irritability, impaired concentration, seizures, hearing loss, memory loss, and blindness. Recovery process includes intensive rehab, occupational, speech, language, therapy, nutrition, neuropsychology. So what are they saying to prevent it? Keep up with your vaccinations. And these are childhood vaccinations. I'm not talking about any of the latest ones. But we talked about chickenpox, right? Which is, the actual name is varicella, which we all got as a child, okay? Unless you opted out, you didn't go to school then, because most schools don't allow you to go in unless you've been vaccinated. Anyway, so you got the measles, mumps, rubella. You got the varicella. You probably didn't get whooping cough, but that's out there now for these kids. The Tdap, which is the pertussis, and the tetanus, diphtheria. Anyway, there's a lot of vaccinations that we get as children, and we forget all about them until we're grown. and they usually have been good at preventing a lot of viruses.
Mhm.
However, when you travel to unknown areas or areas that do not require certain vaccinations, be mindful. It doesn't say don't go, but be mindful when you do travel. Sitting water breeds mosquitoes. Dirty areas breed rats. And that's New York City. You know, in Boston, I've seen rats running around like,
Okay, running around like people.
okay, they just trying to next spot, you know? I was like, is that a rat? Hey!
Okay, they pay rent. What?
Just give him your pizza. Don't fight with him. Just give him the pizza. But as I said, be mindful when you go to other places. There are high cases of encephalitis in certain countries. I don't know them off the bat. And we talked about proper hygiene and washing hands. Hygiene and washing hands are two different things. Okay. Hygiene is washing your body, your hair, your teeth, open areas. Washing your hands is washing your hands. And like I said, avoid mosquito and tick exposure as best you can.
Yeah, I know that. I know some people. Not. I don't know some people. I know a person who had a tick, and it was one of them places that you wouldn't be expecting the tick to be, and they got sick. I forgot all the details, but yeah, it was bad. I was like, from a tick, like a dog tick, like,
Yeah,
but it was like,
malaria is caused by vectors too. Thank you.
That I mean, I'm trying to think. I had another question. So,
what was I going to say? Oh, Unique Beauty said she's familiar with what we're saying. Her son passed away from asthma. No oxygen to the brain. Yeah, I think, and I try not to go super hard on over education, but.
But that's one of them important things, because a lot of people nowadays are like, okay, we anti-vaccinations, but for those type of vaccines that we suffer with, I'm telling you, like the chicken pox, all that kind of stuff, I'm thinking them pretty safe, because it kept like they're like, there's no polio no more. Yes, because of vaccines. I'm sorry if no one agree with them vaccines, but and I was one of them people was holding out for dear life not to get the recent one, but I'm telling you, them the ones that we pretty much know is effective preventing meningitis. I think was one of them that is out there. But I'm telling you, y'all, get these children taken care of, protected. It ain't like, I mean, and I know some people are like, well, it's causing autism, this, that, and the third. Well, you want to be alive, or you want to just be creative, you know what I'm saying? Have a different way of learning. I'd rather that. But that ain't here. That ain't what we're here for. But
no, what I will say on vaccinations, if you are a parent of young children or haven't had any children, please listen very carefully. There is a such thing as slow vaccination or delayed vaccination. Right at birth or before birth, you can discuss with your medical professional, your doula, which vaccines, because right at birth they're giving them vitamin K and they're poking them. So if you are not aware, a lot of new parents are not aware that this stuff happens within seconds. You can do delayed vaccinations. You can also choose to homeschool your children, so you don't have to do vaccinations. But what I will say about certain vaccinations, like you mentioned polio, the reasons, again, are because we have what is considered to be herd immunity. The majority is vaccinated. So the little few people that aren't, it doesn't transmit that well. It doesn't keep moving around. It just ping pongs off of them that aren't. But that's a whole nother subject. But you can talk to your pediatrician while you're pregnant. That's a good idea to pick out one while you're pregnant and ask them if they would agree to delayed vaccinations. It's very controversial what has caused autism or ADHD. I think there's an over, what do we call it?
Diagnosis.
Labeling of a lot of things that are just badass kid syndrome.
A bag.
So just talk about delayed vaccinations if you're not interested in doing 7 shots in 1 round. I totally get it. Or you can just stagger it yourself and just don't show up at the pediatrician's office and be like, well, you know. Anyway, another conversation.
Personal preference, not here to judge or advise.
But I do want to give good information. So I'm not here to tell you that you should or shouldn't. There's options. Thank you, Kenneth, for the topic today, encephalitis. And thank you for sharing as well, because a lot of people are suffering out there or have had someone who is suffering, was suffering, didn't understand, don't understand. And maybe this could help them understand or possibly, you know, just know some warning signs.
Okay, I got another question. So it's like one of them questions that come due to what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, because it's like a lot of people have autoimmune disease or being diagnosed with autoimmune diseases like lupus, MS. What's that Divine Design with Alicia Priest to have? Sarcoidosis.
Sarcoidosis.
Yeah. And so, like, was there an illness? Do you know? And if there's an illness before that introduced a virus, and then that caused the autoimmune, or the autoimmune is allowing? I mean, because that is the autoimmune. But you know what I'm saying? Like, is it are those things that people are born with, develop? You know what I mean?
It's a development, typically. I mean, it could be once you're born, whatever. But there's so many. There's rheumatoid arthritis. Lupus is a new.
Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune.
Yes.
Rheumatoid. I got
rheumatoid. And, you got the rheumatoid.
Rheumatoid and osteoarthritis.
Osteo is not. That would be more genetic.
But they just say because I have a lot of inflammation, so I need to
the inflammation is the rheumatoid part.
Huh?
The inflammation part. Yeah. Remember how we were talking in the beginning? The itis, the inflammation of that's the autoimmune part.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, shoot.
So osteoarthritis is just a deficiency in the bone. So lack of the vitamins. And that causes the joint pain. But like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, celiac disease, MS, that's all I can do right now. Anyway, MS is genetic, as well. They found that to be a jumper, so to speak. So like it jumps generations. But anything that's autoimmune can be definitely passed on.
Dang.
You have a history doesn't necessarily mean your children will have the history. It's just the history exists now. So there's ways to prevent things, but essentially an autoimmune disorder or disease is the body's ability to fight infections or diseases is lowered. So it's like your little Trojan horses are standing at the gates, over, in Greece, right? They're supposed to be protecting, and now they're just wandering off because they don't know what to do. They just didn't get a clear signal. So they start attacking any little thing. So the simple cold can turn into the flu, can turn into a major respiratory infection, just because your immune system is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Oh, you have Sjogren's syndrome. Is it Jamia? Yeah. I actually had a case the other day.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it was
I heard of RA though. Of course.
So Sometimes they treat you with like immunotherapy. You hear the commercials for all kinds of pharmacy stuff. If you're on immunotherapy or any immune agents, they have a lot of drug interactions, but they in a sense boost your own immune system and try to tell it what to do. But it also lowers your ability to fight infections. It's very hard. Like your body is already lowered, so you need help to boost it up. But once you introduce something into the body, it's creating a lowered immune system already. But they need it. Otherwise, they probably would die.
Oh, my.
So
thank goodness for help.
It's okay. You need to know these things. My kids caught COVID 3 weeks ago. No signs. We'd taken the vaccine for it. They always get there. Yeah. I mean, COVID is the new flu now. Unfortunately, it progressed to be something that can't be controlled. So it is the new flu. I just cross my fingers and thank God that we have passed that death stage, that people were dropping like flies because we had no idea what it was, what to do with it, how to treat it. They even brought medicines from the dead, so to speak, in order to try to combat it. But this is what they've been doing in medicine, they try stuff and if it doesn't work, well, that didn't work. I mean, it's been through.
Yeah, they said that the same components is in the malaria vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even like they just slap a label. We don't know what's
right. Hey,
unless you got a microscope and you know all the ins and outs. You know, this is unrelated, but children and head lice. Oh, okay. Let me write that down. You know, I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you when we talk about it. Okay.
What is that? What did Nora say?
Prednisone lowers your immune response too. Yes.
Okay. What's
prednisone?
Prednisone. What is that for?
Listen to me. I'm about to tell you. Prednisone is a steroid. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was like, I know I heard that before. Yeah, because okay.
And so the part about medicine is the pros and cons, right? Risks versus benefits. There we go. So prednisone is a steroid that decreases inflammation. Okay, the whole time we've been talking about inflammation. So medicines that decrease inflammation are steroids. And they're great for that. They have extreme side effects as well, but they do their job, okay? If taken in short periods of time, you don't see some of the long-term effects like moon phase, or it starts to give you like nightmares, insomnia, munchies. Those are like late effects if you've been taking it for a long time. But they really do help people who have immune disorders. So if somebody who's suffering from a lot of inflammation, prednisone is really great to decrease the inflammation. Prednisone is not only used for, let's say, arthritis symptoms, which is really the inflammation of the joints. Sometimes they give it to people who have cancer. Hey, Arcade Pop. Sometimes they give it to respiratory disorders. Sometimes they use it in conjunction with antibiotics to decrease inflammation and also kill the bacteria. There's a lot of things that steroids are used for. You'll see it a lot if you've had recurrent pneumonia or extreme respiratory disorders.
Yes, I was about to say, people with asthma, bronchitis, they have them pumps, baby. I say that's steroid right there, boy. I'm like, oh Lord have mercy.
But otherwise, they wouldn't be able to
breathe.
Yeah. So with asthma in particular, all of my kids have had asthma as children, and now they've pretty much grown out of it. Except for the younger one here, but asthma constricts the lungs the little tubes in the lungs that the kids need, or older people, who have asthma for a long time. It constricts it, so it's hard for them to take in a nice gasp of air and just clear their lungs. So what a steroid will do is decrease all of that tension that is in the lungs and making it very hard to breathe. Decrease that, and then once you take your inhaler or a nebulizer, it opens the lungs. So you get rid of the inflammation, open up the lungs, and they're able to take a nice, good, deep breath.
No, but I always wonder why is it that some people grow out of asthma and some people don't, and it's probably something dealing with genetics or something like that. But they be trying to run amok when they know mommy and stuff busy, don't they? Boy, mom had her asking 1,000 questions.
I'm sure you see the blurred.
Anyway. Most of us got children, so we already know.
Asthma is another great topic. It can be genetic. It can be, just pop up here and there in your family. But I've never even had like asthma, but all of my kids seem to have had it. And usually you outgrow it just because of your lung capacity gets bigger when you get older. Your lungs are bigger as you get older. So your ability to process the air is better.
Yeah, they said those breathing exercises too, doing all that. But anyway, we ain't gonna get off topic because I know you. We had 4:03, honey.
We're doing great.
That was a good. This is a good conversation because people need to be able to recognize the sign. Because a lot of time, I ain't gonna even lie. If you're not falling over, I'll be like, boy, if you don't get up, get that uniform on and go to school. But I got my side hurt. Was it hurting when you was playing that video game? Okay.
Yeah.
If it wasn't hurting then, my son gonna come in there last night talking about, my toe hurt. But if you don't, it was not hurting that hour you were sitting down there playing that video game. So don't come in here. See, and I've been blew off the wrong doggone thing. So I'm glad that we're able to talk about these things because you never know who may come by and for this replay. And they might be curious. And so I think these discussions are very helpful, very needed. And because, if you got time to sit around and talk about anything else, you talk about the health because health is what's
exactly
critical. You know what I mean?
We could sit here and breathe, but that wouldn't be real beneficial in my opinion.
What, Bethany? We could sit around here and breathe.
Great, just hear the air passing through the. Hey guys. So
I cannot. Yeah. There's somebody on a live stream somewhere just sitting breathing right there while we laughing at that.
I'd be scrolling and seeing this lo-fi stuff, and I'm like, wait, what? I can lo-fi myself. Like, why do I need this? Anyway, so the whole point is to be informative, educational, provide motivation and inspiration, and how we make it through life with distractions like this on a daily basis is a whole nother show. So if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, please leave them in the comment section when the live is over. We really do appreciate it. And I'll let you close out since I got a whole bunch of business happening here in the back.
And I just say, like I said previously, we need to have this awareness so we have greater sensitivity to people that may be going through these things and we are unaware. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we're like, well, they should be able to work. No, you know what I'm saying? There are different circumstances that surround people's circumstances, but there are different things that are surrounded by people's circumstances. So we need to be more cognizant of these things and have a greater sensitivity, for lack of a better word. So All right, we appreciate you all being here. Please, if you haven't seen the rest of the Converse with the Mamas, the full playlist is on One Busy Mama channel, and we would like your thoughts, ideas for additional viewers picks. So you leave it in the comment below. See y'all in the morning for workout with me, workout with me, workout with me. Hey, workout with me, workout with me, workout with me. Hey, and this is an opportunity for you to do what you do, for me to do what I do, but we do it together. And a little bit at a time, we work toward developing and maintaining healthier habits. So with that being said, once we in the live stream, please leave us a comment down below. If you liked it, don't forget to thumbs up it. And subscribe if you're not already. Turn that notification bing, bam, bam, bam on. And we will see you all in the next one. Peace. Yeah. Whoa. Peace, y'all.